J. Cooper here, formerly Benjamin J. Cooper. This is a video on traveling in Philippines and traveling in Malaysia and Singapore. During my last trip to Malaysia, the currency was about 3 times lower than Australia. Sometimes it was 3.4, sometimes it was 2.8. In general, it was 3.2. I found most of the hotels are at least $50 a night. Some of them are 22. Some of them I can get for $11, but most of them will be varying between like $18 to $50. If you find one deal that's like $11, it's usually because it's only going to be for about a week, 13 days in their holiday season, which is like in Ramadan, Malaysia. So that's in areas like Kota Bharu, and areas like southern Thailand is a different country, but it's close by. And KL typically it doesn't usually get below $25 a night. It can be over $100 a night. Typically, it's pretty easy to get a place for about $35 a night. You're renting out a private unit in KL, Kuala Lumpur. It will take you about a week to get used to KL, around the city area and meeting people. There's a large Chinese population, as well as expats. There's some expat hotels there, and there's expat buildings that are built like beautiful Italian designs with a Michelangelo design on the ceiling, which I talked to a few people about ideas for that a long time ago, so I'm not sure if that's why they did it, but they have a building like that in KL and quite a lot of other buildings in KL near international schools where international people go to school. So when I went to Malaysia, and I stopped over in Singapore for a very short period, it cost me pretty well the same as renting out a place in Australia, like with the food and the accommodation, living quite basically and buying a few things like electronics and clothing. It would be about the same as renting in Australia, about the same cost. So like for example, like one year trip might cost about between $20,000 to $25,000 for Malaysia and KL, like different areas of Malaysia and KL and Singapore, unless you're renting out a place longer term. The only problems of renting out places longer term is that the travel fees, even if the taxi is only $8 a week or $8 every 3 or 4 days, it adds up over like a period of time. So you factor that into how far you're walking or how far you're traveling. And then the Philippines is another country. If you're going to the Philippines, it's even cheaper. Philippines currency is a lot cheaper, which is closer to like Brazil or like Japan in a collapse, like when the currency collapsed in Japan when they had all the tornadoes. It's similar to that. But Philippines is much cheaper than Japan, and like you will need more money than you think, and that is because of the traveling. The traveling is very cheap, but if you stay a long way from where you're going to, like to eat, or from shopping centres, you can expect to spend like quite a lot on traveling. It might look like a very little, but you might spend up $10 a day on traveling, or $20 a day sometimes. So that's why when I went to KL, I stayed in Mall of Asia, near Philippines, I mean, because Mall of Asia is like the largest shopping centre in Asia. So Southeast Asia has got the biggest shopping centre. So they have ice skating rink there. They have nightclubs and conference centres that were built after I left. They have got an outdoor exercise area, river, which is pretty similar to, like Brisbane in Australia, or like California with the boardwalk. And it has a lot of hotels there, Japanese hotels like Sogo Hotel and other hotels that are cheap. hotels you can expect to pay in this area, because they have cleaner air like Brisbane, Australia. There's no pollution because they have lots of cleaners, so you can expect to pay from like 20, maybe 18 min up to like 55 or 65 a night for a middle class hotel. The higher ones you can pay like anywhere from like $80 to $300 a night. They have some very nice high up long-term penthouses you can rent out for like $300 a week. So you can get a very nice penthouse. When I went there, the seaside towers in Mall of Asia were being built, so you can buy like a 2-bedroom place for $55,000, which is like a high-rise building for $55,000. Not far from the Mall of Asia, it's very cheap. The people renting them out, sometimes they get rented on Airbnb. There's a lot of places there that aren't rented out, so they have buildings with like 3,000 rooms, 1 and 2 bedrooms, where you might only have, say, 1,200 of them rented out for 3 or 4 months of the year. So, for tourist season, there's a lot of people there in Manila. This is Manila, which is near Mall of Asia. So Mall of Asia is not far from the airport. It's maybe like 20 minutes from the airport in Manila. And then moving to Boracay. Boracay is another stop from Brisbane Australia Airport, which is an island place. You can fly there from Manila or Cebu, and it's about somewhere between like $50 to $75 a night on most of the middle range hotels, which is like a large house on a beach. It's very nice. Some of them are $400 a night, and the cheaper ones are only about $20 a night, which are like cheap kind of bungalows near the beach or not far from there, and they're very cheap seafood and nice swimming, like nice clear water. So that's kind of like a different atmosphere than Manila, because Manila's very, very polluted and stuff. So it's nice. Boracay. Cebu is very nice. I haven't been there yet though, but I plan to go there. And Palawan has a lot of snorkeling and diving and reefs there. I haven't been there, but I plan to go there sometime. So then from there, I found going back to Malaysia, if I wanted to go to Thailand, it would only take maybe like 6 hours driving in a car from Kota Bharu, Malaysia, which is on the border of southern Thailand, but it can be a little bit dangerous. To go through the toll, it's only about $1.30 Australian or 70 cents. So petrol's still very cheap around those country areas in Malaysia. It's only about 10 cents per litre. So I think it was about maybe 30 cents a litre last time I came back. 30 cents Australian a litre. So it's not much. And that means you can make a lot of trips to Thailand if you're careful and you know people. So you have the option to fly to Thailand from Malaysia for like about $100. Sometimes their flights are $50. Or you can drive, so it'll probably cost you about the same to drive. Depends what kind of thing you want to do. If you want to go sightseeing. Bangkok, they have hotels for about $30 a night in Thailand. Some of them, the best hotels you can stay on Sukhumvit Road for like middle class with air conditioning is about $400 a month or $300 a month, which includes breakfast, so it's very cheap. So those prices are from 2022. I'm not sure about 2024. Thing is Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai is in a country in Thailand. It's very cheap. It's cheaper than that. You could maybe stay for like $200 a month in a house there, Australian, in 2022. It just depends the kind of lifestyle, the kind of travels you're doing. The motorbike hire, the scooter hire is pretty cheap in Thailand. But I find it's easier just to travel by taxi or tuk-tuk around Thailand, so it's cheaper. In general, like I used to pay $1 or like 30 cents Australian when I was 19 to travel around Bangkok per trip, like like $1 was a lot. Sometimes I give $1 US to tip people that live out there. But it was about 30 cents usually. Now it's more. I don't know how much it is now because I haven't been to Thailand for about 5 years or so. 5 to 10 years. Just stopped nearby. And Indonesia is the same. It's very cheap. Indonesia is cheap. Probably cheaper than Manila. And in the Philippines, it's cheaper than that. So to stay there for a year, it might cost you like $15,000. And I'm talking like going out for every meal of the day, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, as much as you want to eat. As long as you're staying in a Japanese Western hotel, which can be like $200 or $300 a night for a businessman. If you're staying in a cheaper place and you know people that live there, you know, we stay in a tourist place. You still have to be careful sometimes for the dangers and stuff, but in general it's okay. Like I've been to Jakarta, into Bali, but there's a lot of beach areas and other areas further out. The further out you go, you've got to know more people, because it's like it's also has a lot of Christians there and a lot of Muslims, but you've got to be careful with that in general, because you have to go quite a long distance away from the airport sometimes. So you have to make sure your bank cards work, and you might know some people. But financially wise, it's very cheap. You wouldn't have to worry about that too much. If you bring like, say, 10,000 with you, that'll be plenty of money to bring with you for 6 months, 10,000. You still have to be careful about the kind of place you stay and your budget. Then also, I have been offered to go to other countries, which I did not go, like China. I've been offered to go there lots of times. I haven't gone there yet. But gone close by. South Korea. I went to South Korea. When I went to South Korea, that was in 2007. Work teaching English. I didn't stay very long. I ended the contract shorter because I had a family problem with my partner. But it's pretty cheap. Like where I was staying used to be part of North Korea, so it had mortar holes all through the walls. And I had my own townhouse paid for, like apartment with Foxtel and everything, for $58,000 US. 2007 was my salary. So that's more than some Australians get now in 2024 for office work, like low-level office work. The money's really only gone up in the last 5 or 6 years. So obviously it was high risk. It used to be nice in North Korea, but to me it was high risk. It's just a teaching job, teaching children. And it was part-time, 58,000 US, because people were still needing to learn how to teach English. A lot of fruit and vegetables fresh, a lot of hot pots. Korean hot pot was like a whole bunch of meals, a whole bunch of bread and other things. It was about $12 for lunch. Like they could lay out a whole bunch of fruit, kimchi, bread, everything, like completely full, and leftovers for about $11 Australian. So that was quite a lot. I mean, like compared to the rest of Asia, that kind of money for lunch was a lot back then. Like that would be the equivalent to like $25 now, maybe. But being on that kind of money, Koreans have a lot of money. Most Koreans aren't in debt, and they're very like South Koreans have got plenty of money usually. The security factor is a bit low, but everybody knows each other. It's more of a military factor, like if there's war on or not war on. The accommodation is pretty cheap, like $300 a month for a unit, including electricity. So that gets taken out of your pay. So when I was there, that was like $50 a week Australian, including electricity. Since then, it's been developed into super cities where I stayed. So now it's a super city, and they've got high-speed internet. Businesses running there, things have changed. So South Korea's developed a lot now. So it will probably cost more now, but it was very cheap back then. So the salary I was on for 58,000 is plenty. I could probably live out half that, but you know, that salary was fine. So generally, now I think they pay about $75,000 US, because they're paying US currency to do teaching there now, and also to work there. Even for locals, a lot of them get $70,000 US in South Korea, so it's quite a good pay. So that's some of the places I've been to in Asia, and the cost of staying there.